The story centers around a 17-year-old boy, my son in the movie, who's in a real deep mental health crisis. And listen, I have a 22-year-old and a 17-year-old. There's everybody watching this interview, either in their own life or someone they know very close to them is going through some mental health issue because it's an epidemic. The numbers are bearing that out, and it's an issue that we know relatively little about. There seems to be a lot of shame and guilt, silence around it. I think we need to admit that we don't know a lot. And there's a line in the movie that says, love isn't enough, it's not always enough. And I think that's a really hard thing as a parent to admit, and a hard thing for people all over the world to admit, that we need to tackle this as a society, as a village, And so that was very important to me, why I took the role. It was a challenge for me personally, but also I think it's a story we need to tell, and it's conversation we need to have.
A mother's love has been the most extraordinary feeling I've had the privilege of feeling in my life, and so how I love my children and how I want them safe and happy, and how I am always looking for the mistake or the problem to be the answer to why they're having a hard time, as though it's going to make it easier, has really taught me about my own flaws as a parent. That sometimes you have to allow someone to be in the crisis they're in and not fix it by taking blame, because that does nothing for them. So it really brought up a lot of questions. As Florian says, he didn't make the film to have answers, which is why he doesn't speak to a specific diagnosis in the film. He speaks more to our cultural blindfold and stigma around mental health.
I love that Florian leans into the really difficult corners and the dark places and is uncompromising. I think that's the word that best describes him in a way, and is unafraid to look at the complexities and the pain of dementia or teenage depression or family dynamics and the secrets that we keep and we're unprocessed trauma and all that sort of stuff. So it's I wanted to work with him because I found him fearless, and that really excited me.
For the son, when I started writing that story, I guess it was coming from a personal place and a personal experience, but I knew that so many people can relate to these issues which are mental health issues, and so I felt strongly that that story needs to be told, because when you're going through difficult moment, you feel like you're by yourself, you're alone, and art is done for that, to make you remember that you're not alone, that we are all in the same boat and part of something bigger than ourselves, which is humanity.
اشترك في باقات واتشت الشهرية بتبدأ من 14 جنيه و99 قرش، وباقات سنوية تبدأ من 150 جنيه.